Hi everyone, it's Lauren from Headstrong Women here, and today I'm having a coffee with the fabulous Jo Muirhead. Hi Jo, how are you going?
Thank you, Lauren. A fabulous Jo Muirhead. Thank you. I've already finished my coffee, so that happened very, very quickly. Yeah, thanks for coming all this way. I'm so appreciative of you making such a big effort.
Oh, look, it's beautiful. So we're in Glenbrook today, and for anyone who hasn't visited Glenbrook, do, because it's just beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really beautiful here. And we're going to shout out to the ATA ladies who have let us use their office today.
Yeah.
I'm not so great with lots of background noise, so I've found somewhere quiet for us to have our chat today.
Yeah, beautiful building. And you're right, you know, it's the most exquisite accountant building.
Yes.
Very unaccountant. Sorry, accountants. All right, so Jo, let's get down to it. I mean, we're both veterans of the rehab counselling and career development world. What has been the really defining parts of your career, and how would you describe the differences that you've seen over the past decade or so, and what's continued to pique your interest after all this time?
Okay, wow. So defining moments in my career have probably been really negative experiences. I'm very good at remembering garbage, crap and horrible stuff, like most people.
Yeah.
So but I have some good stuff too. But I think for me, there was in the beginning stages of my career when I was an employee, I thought I was being asked to help people return to work.
Yeah.
And so I did whatever I thought was necessary to help people do that, not understanding that claims assessment and claims administration and the way, specialised funds and self-insurers, they have other gains to be made from people not returning to work, and then clients have gains to be made from not going back to work.
Yeah.
So there was a period of time when I was working with a very large hospital, and it was during a nurses shortage.
Oh right, yeah.
So there were all these registered nurses who weren't at work, and I thought that's ridiculous. Anyway, in my head, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
We had all of this talent sitting at home trying to recover.
Yeah.
And we had no one to fill, like beds were closing and wards were closing. I'm like, so I worked internally with somebody at this hospital and we got all these people back on their suitable duties programs just by manipulating where people needed to be and what skills they needed and where they needed to be.
Yeah.
So we got this, and that was so effective, but it caused so many problems in a part of the business I didn't understand, which all had to do with claims administration. And I ended up being blacklisted.
Yeah, wow. Because you bypassed their gains.
Because it just went, is it this what I'm supposed to be doing? So that was fairly interesting. There's been some other times where I haven't I really have resented being told how to do the job. Yeah,
I can absolutely relate to that.
And that was a pinnacle for me. That's what made me go out on my own and start my own thing. Was like, this is just not okay. So I get that a lot of people are funded by insurance companies regardless of the jurisdiction they fall under.
Yeah.
But I had this moment one day where it was like, you have got to be, there was swearing.
Yeah.
A lot of it. And I'm not doing this anymore. I went to uni for 4 years. I spent a fortune on my education. I have to pay PL insurance every year. I've got to keep my credentials up to date. Yeah. I've actively stayed involved in my own professional development, yet you, who is a high school graduate, have a schedule of how a person is supposed to recover and tick the boxes along the way. Yeah. And I'm supposed to fall into that. And I just felt it was the most disrespecting experience, but it was also the most, I guess, it was a pinnacle because I went, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to show everybody it can be done what I consider to be the right way. It's the Jo way. Yeah. But I just, So,
but look, I can just relate so much to that, and that's why I'm sitting here nodding along, because it's something that I think is so common amongst rehab counsellors that, that we go into these roles with the expectation that we are actively supporting people and we're helping people, overcome and injury, illness, changes in life and really owning their lives. And the reality is, like you say, it's quite complex systems that become involved and it can be so disheartening.
Well, for me, work is really important. And it's always, I had got my first job when I was 14 and I've always loved talking to people about what they do for work. Yeah. That's probably been the common theme for me. Yeah. But I think we got one of the massive changes, which I'm grateful for, is we're talking about how work is good for us. Yeah, absolutely. But we've got to understand that it's good work that's good for us. And there have been about 4 or 5 years when the whole good work was taken out of the equation and people started going, work is good. It's like, no, hang on a minute. Good work. The research actually says it's good work is good for us. Yeah. So being able to go back and go, hang on, I can't just say to somebody, go back to work because it's good for you. Yeah. Because they turn around and they go, fuck off, excuse my language, or piss off. Yeah. I got hurt at work. Work is not good for me. Yeah. So I actually ran I did an interview for somebody last year which was good work is good for your health, so what? Yeah. Because we've got to get more sophisticated and help people understand why work is good. Absolutely. Rather than just prescribe work. Well, that's it. And I think, even having that insight and developing that insight into, well, what does good work look like for me? Because what I've found over the years, and I know you would have seen this as well, that there are no two people alike, are there? It's, and that's what keeps counselling, keeps rehab counselling really interesting, is that people are also individual. So we need to have more of an understanding about what good work looks like for us as individuals, not as a group necessarily. No, and not everybody that comes to us is going to be different. Yeah. Their job might be the same, but they're going to be different. And we've all seen those situations where you can have person A who is 45, person B who's 45. They're both men, both had exactly the same career history, have exactly the same mechanism of injury, yet one will recover and one won't. Yeah. Yeah. So we can't go in with a prescription. We've got best practice and we've got guidelines, but again, we've got to become better at not just tailoring things, but customizing it and go, how do we make this work for you? Yeah. But I love your piece around the ownership for the client. I don't think that would, for me, the first 15 years of life, there was no ownership for clients. No. And I think particularly within a lot of the insurance systems, so whether it's workers' comp, whether it's, CTP or even your income protection, there's so much focus on what the injury or disability is. It's the focus really isn't on how that actually fits into life. What does it really mean? What do you want your life to look like, basically? Yes. That question just is not asked. It's more of a repetition on, well, what's wrong? When's that going to get better? Yeah. They're the questions, nothing about the ownership around that person's life. So, and we both know as health professionals that once someone is really engaged in their life and looking forward to stuff, that's really when the change happens, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. Look, it's such an interesting field. I feel really privileged to be working with people. I'm guessing you're the same. Absolutely. I love telling the stories. I presented a workshop this week and I got to tell a couple of outcome stories, and I've watched people who have had, I was working with a lady who was an architect and she lost her vision and she retrained in law. Yeah. But she was learning to live her life as a vision impaired person while she was retraining. So for her, there was none of this, I'm going to go learn how to be a visually impaired person. It was like, give me something to do. So that's what we did. That was awesome. And we've just retrained, we're in the process of retraining a gentleman who now gets to live in a power chair to be a drone pilot. Wow. So, 5 years ago, drone pilot wasn't even a thing. Yeah. So that's fun. And we've got another gentleman who lives in a power chair and he represents this country at the Olympics. Yeah. So it's just like, wow. Who gets to do that?
Yeah. That's it.
Really cool stuff. I have been doing this a while. I've been doing this for 20 years, so I do have some cool stories. I also have some stories that aren't very pleasant, but I like to focus on the ones that make me feel good.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And it will be interesting too to see the new types of jobs that come up and the new possibilities with equipment and stuff. So look, I really love that you're such a passionate advocate for the holistic rehab, and your overriding message in everything that you do is that if you want to return to work, there is a way. So what parts of your role do you find the most frustrating, and how do you keep motivated during those times?
Okay, so how I keep motivated is I get rid of the things that I find don't serve me or my business, because I've got a team now. There's 10 of us now, possibly 11. So for me, one of the things I really resented was being a quasi claims manager. Yeah. So, and I understand the importance of managing a claim very well and robustly. I get that claims assessors are responsible for buckets of money. Yeah. And I guess I get that their performance is based on that. I didn't choose to learn how to do that. No. So I actually... I respect you and I understand that that's what you need to do, but actually not the best person to help you with that. So one of the things I found a real struggle for us was when we would have job seekers sent to us, so all we had to do was compliance manage the job seeker so that they were meeting some sort of activity criteria so they could receive their benefit. I just made a conscious decision that we won't do that. Now I've got people on my team who are more than happy to do it, but I won't. As a business, I'm not happy to do that. So for me, that was a frustration. I thought that's just silly. If we could help these people internally switch on and go, it's more important for me to go get a job and learn how to do this than it is to go and see Jo every 2 weeks and get my box ticked. That's how it felt to me. And I don't ever think any piece of legislation was written to make a person feel like that. I just think in the way the insurance companies and the regulators have expressed it, or the way the actuaries have worked out their formulas, which I will never understand.
Oh, no.
So it's just the way it's come out. But I just chose not to be a part of it. That was the easiest thing for me to do, is I just don't want to be a part of this.
And there's something really liberating about the first time that you say no and it fits within your ethics and integrity standards, isn't there?
That being said, we do a lot of employability assessments. So people listening to this might go, well, but you do these employability assessments and you just, cut people's benefits off. I'm actually not that powerful. No. We don't cut anybody's benefits off.
No, and I think that's a really good clarification as well. Because over the years, we've had loads of times like that.
We do a really robust assessment, but I love doing those assessments because I find that I am usually one of the very few people that will sit in front of a client and go, there has got to be more to your life than this $100,000. There's got to be more to your life than just this claim, and I am sad that you have not engaged in those conversations. Now, a lot of people listening to this are going to be going, but that's not the point of the assessment. I get it. But, I do really good assessments. We do really robust assessments. And if we're not helping people understand how you're going to use that $100,000, that's horrid. $100,000 is not enough to live on for the rest of your life when you're 33.
No, it's not, is it? And it's all around that mindset stuff as well. That one of the conversations I've had thousands of times over the years is that regardless of who we are, how old we are, whether we're men, women, whoever. Life is going to change us in some ways. Our health is going to change. Our bodies are going to change. Our life circumstances are going to change. And we need to be able to adapt to that, because if we don't, we're going to be stuck in that hole.
And one of the most empowering things I think that we can say to clients is, my goal is to make me redundant.
Absolutely. My job's to do myself out of a job.
I don't want you to have to come back and ask for my help the next time you want to make a career transition. It's cool if you want to, but I really don't want you to have to.
No.
And that, being able to articulate that and being able to say it and own it, and then being able to find a team of people who want to practice in that way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love that we can say that to them. And that also means that we do not work with clients who are not engaged or who are not motivated.
Yeah, yep. So working with people who genuinely are looking for a solution and a way forward.
And they won't be super positive and excited all the time.
Well, none of us are we?
Exactly. I just wanted it's not all sunshine, lollipops, unicorns and all of those things.
Yeah.
But it is about being able to screen consistently.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be here, you don't have to. And clients will go, what?
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you don't, you're giving me all this behaviour is suggesting you're actually not interested in this or you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I just want to check in and find out, is there something I could be doing differently?
Yeah.
And that's when we usually find clients will say, I want you to go and find me a job and put me in the job.
Oh, God, I've heard that so many times.
Magic bucket of jobs I have. And
Yeah.
which is when I can go, fantastic, thank you so much for sharing that with me. That's not what we do here. So let me find you a service provider that can do that for you.
Absolutely.
And then they're just horrified.
Yeah.
So the insurance company told me you were going to find me a job. I said, wow, I really hope they didn't because I'm very clear that's not what we do.
No. Oh, God, I've had that conversation so many times.
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
That's just, it's not a useful conversation, but there are specialist agencies out there, and I get that there are some people who need that assistance.
Yeah.
All for that.
Yeah.
But that's not what we do.
No. And I love that advice though too, looking at, well, what serves me, what serves my business, and really just removing those aspects that don't. And I hear advice similar to that from so many women, and I wish that we would all really start to look at that more in our everyday lives as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We are very good as women to manage our lives around guilt and shame.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
We are awesome at that. I'm so grateful that people are talking about it more and more and more these days, because the better we get at letting go of guilt and shame and being able to do things that inspire, encourage, fill us up. Whether we choose to be working mums or career-loving mums. So I tell everyone I'm a career-loving mum rather than a working mum.
Yeah, love it.
It's a big distinction for me.
Yeah.
It also helped me understand why I would have to put reminders in my phone to call my son. It's like, that's cool. I love my job. I love my son. I need to remember him. But if we can start in this generation going, I'm being motivated from guilt, or that's a response from guilt, then our daughters and our nieces and our granddaughters are going to have a much better time in being able to go, well, we don't do that around here because we don't motivate each other through guilt and shame.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to stop. We all need to break that cycle.
Yeah, we do.
Couldn't agree more. So you're very impressive in what you do with rehab, but you're also an internationally recognised business coach for allied health professionals, which is really exciting because I don't think that has really been a space where anyone's worked before. And in recent years, new schemes like the NDIS and the changes with, Medicare and other health facets has really disrupted referrals for allied health. So what's been the most common difficulties that health professionals have presented to you?
I have a list. No, it's okay. It's usually health professionals. So I think we're going to talk about money because as health professionals, we tend to think we shouldn't.
Yes.
Or we can't, or it's bad, or it's evil.
Yeah, it's a really interesting kind of paradox, isn't it? Where,
but then I have to remind everybody, how much money did you spend on your university education? And then how much money do you spend every year on just maintaining your qualifications?
Yeah.
So we do that intentionally. There needs to be some level of investment in how am I going to then manage my career? How am I going how do I want this work to work for me? I'm all about making work.
Yeah.
So the business coaching for allied health professionals for me, I'm a big thinker and I'm a truth teller. And I think a lot of small business, and the big ones, I've worked with some big ones as well, the tension between caring for others and self-care gets in the way a lot. So people of my generation, so I'm a Gen X, we work hard. And bloody hell, we're going to work really, really hard. And we work hard, and that's what we know how to do. And we will work hard. And God forbid those stupid millennials who don't work hard.
Yep, that's it. We'll just keep going.
And then we fall over, and then we go, why isn't anyone helping me work hard anymore? So working out that tension between maybe I don't have to work so hard and what sort of example am I setting for the rest of the world. And then we have the millennial types, and I'm really trying hard not to, but they come along and they're like, I do not want to be a burnt out Gen X. I'm just not doing that. So give me my work-life balance, and it's more important for me to come to work at 9:10 and finish at 10 to 5, which irritates people like me going, you're supposed to turn up an hour early and leave an hour late. And we've got to get over that whole, turning up and being in a chair doesn't equate to getting good work done. So
definitely.
I think it's about having those discussions around knowing your worth and knowing your value, and then being able to manage that tension between, do I take sliding scale? Do I do, in Australia here, we do not do enough copay. So what I mean by that
explain.
So it's a term that's come out because I do a lot of coaching into the States. Most of my clients come from the States at the moment because Australians, tall popping, all that stuff.
It's an interesting space, isn't it?
Anywho, it's starting to happen. So we have the Medicare rate on a lot. Rehab counselling, no, but other disciplines they do. So a lot of people who charge the Medicare fee think that that's all they can charge. So what I mean by copay is why can't you then put another $30, $40, $10 on top of that? So nobody goes to the psychiatrist and argues about the fee. Nobody goes to the specialist orthopaedic surgeon and argues about the fee. So why do we give them permission to argue with us about our fee? We should not be negotiable. I get really cranky about this. We also know that clients who have to put skin in the game will get better results. Even if it's $10, make them pay, because they're going to be the ones that turn up. They will do their homework. They're the ones that are actually going to want to get better.
Because they've literally made an investment in themselves and in the expertise that you've got. And it's a really similar conversation that I have with a lot of women I work with who are looking at self-employment and whether they're going to be sustainable in self-employment and looking at their rates of pay. And it's infuriating when I ask the question, so what are you worth? And the response comes back as, well, I'm not sure. I think that's what I was getting paid at in my last job, so I'd probably go a little bit lower than that. And I just usually sit there with a bit of a disappointed blank face because that question of why would you not value yourself as an entity, whereas you had that expectation as an employee.
And my challenge to that is why would you go into self-employment, which is so much more work than being an employee? It's not, flexibility and freedom come after all the really, really hard work.
Totally. No, look, oh God, in my, just in friends, I can't tell you how many times I've had the conversation with friends and family that it's really not as glamorous as you think.
Oh no, I started a live to video chat last year. I call it This is Private Practice.
Yes, I was.
And it was born out of a very long 3-month argument with Telstra. And I had that day I had it. And everybody complains about Telstra here in Australia. But I'm just like, I'm over it. I've complained on Twitter. I've complained on Facebook. I've complained everywhere I can complain. There we go. You need to know that being self-employed and running a business, you have to deal with some crap. And sometimes the crap has got nothing to do with your clinical expertise.
No.
So that brings me on to the next thing is there's never enough discussion about money and there's never enough discussion about how helping people, our clients, pay us is better for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have this whole thing happening at the moment. I'm writing a book on it, on how we're going to change healthcare in this country.
Fantastic.
Because Medicare can only support crisis.
Absolutely.
We are too big a country. We've got too many people here. We are living longer. The biggest epidemic we've got now is all around chronic health.
Yeah.
Whether it's chronic mental health or physical health.
Yeah.
This is not short, sharp, 6 slots of intervention and you're done stuff.
No, this is long-term maintenance and planning and proactive management of your own life.
Yeah, exactly. So if we don't grab a hold of that as the people on the face of this, the grassroots doing the do with people in the community, they don't, most people are not coming to us wanting free and cheap. Most people are coming to us going, help me fix this.
Yeah.
We have this perception that everyone wants free and cheap because we've grown up with Medicare.
Yeah.
But it's just not sustainable. And I think we need to grow up and take responsibility for ourselves as health professionals.
Yeah.
But also, we're going to help our clients get better outcomes. Now, I get that not everyone can pay. That's why we need Medicare.
Yeah.
But surely we can help our clients by having the conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And learning to have those conversations around, you know what? I want you to start contributing $10 when you come.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And because you watch their self-esteem improve.
Yeah.
It's the same as when you can help kids that can't have breakfast.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, I got to have breakfast today.
Yeah.
Or wear a school uniform.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all that stuff, isn't it?
My social justice meeting just went. We're bouncing off the walls in here, people.
Well, we were saying before we started that, things could get ranty. Absolutely. Do you find too that, how do I put it? There's a bit of a misconception that people in the health fields and all of these helping roles that we're not nice or we're not helping if we're asking for money.
Oh, yeah.
And where does that come from? And how do you address that? Or is it just blunt?
No, it's real and it's historical. I was at I went to the Evolution of Psychotherapy conference in Anaheim, which is a conference, an international conference that's held every 5 years. Fantastic. And it is still being discussed in graduate programs and university courses that our first priority is to do no harm and help all the people. Yeah. So if we've got that ingrained from us, from social science 101 through to counselling 101, and we do a 4-year degree or 6 years of training, then it's just those neural pathways are set and those beliefs are set that I help everybody first, then I work out the money. We've got to really flip that on its head, not because we're materialistic and none of us are going to, like if you come into allied health to make $1 gazillion, it's wrong. And it's not about being greedy, but there's this perception that we have to help the people first. My challenge is, are we really helping them if we just keep giving them the stuff?
And that's a really good point. And it's interesting the language that we even use around it, like the use of the word greedy. Again, coming back to what you were saying, we don't look at psychiatrists, we don't look at other specialists, we don't look at, any other specialist field as greedy.
No, we do, and we expect it. We expect to be really out of pocket when we have to see a medical specialist. Now, I'm not sitting here going we should all be charging $300 a session. I'm not suggesting that for a moment, but come on, if you're in private practice, please charge more than $30.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's actually not doing you any favour. And you will have to, if you're only charging $30, the amount of clients you need to see in a week to actually put food on the table is not sustainable.
That's it.
We actually need us to be healthy enough, because if we're not healthy, we can't serve anyone. And if you're sitting there in front of a client going, I really need you to be out of here because I've got to see another 9 of you today, because if I don't see 9 of you today, then
I can't pay the mortgage.
When you're not present, who are you helping? So
so true.
This is how this lack of discussion around money turns up. And it turns up in really unhelpful ways. And I think we're better than that.
Yeah.
I actually think we're better than that. I want us to be better than that.
Yeah. And I just always see this great irony that as health professionals, we so regularly don't do what's healthy for us, you know, and we take great care in keeping up to date with best practice and recommending it to all of our clients and really delighting in that. But yeah, you're right. We don't often do that for ourselves, and we really need to, don't we?
And I think we're all there's a lot of us who are scared. Like, I meet so many coaching clients who've never created their own budget.
Yeah.
So how are they going to talk to a client about money when they're terrified of their own financial situation?
Yeah.
And so I take the pain out of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, how much money do you need to learn? How much money do you need to live on each week?
Yeah.
And they couldn't tell me. That's where we start.
Yeah.
And then we're going to reverse engineer it. And it's never, ever as hard as you think it is.
Yeah.
It's never, ever as hard.
That's great. I think we all need that printed somewhere. Yeah, it's never, ever as hard as you think. So what do you find are the most difficult aspects then of working with allied health professionals, and do we actually listen?
We've got generations coming through now who want this type of help.
Great.
Which is wonderful. So there's this whole movement towards everybody wants the lifestyle work.
Yeah.
And wants the laptop lifestyle. So how can we do that as health professionals? And I think we actually can. I think too, so there's the people who like the carrots, and then I want the attractive stuff, I want that. And then we've got the people who are like, how dare a coach? Someone's just got a coaching certificate and they can charge $500 an hour, and I'm a clinical psychologist and I can only charge $220. We as a we're not going to change and people will pay it.
Yeah.
So those sorts of changes are coming through, but it's also about learning. When you go to university, when you learn to become a health professional, whatever type of helper that is, they're not there to teach you how to run a business.
No.
They're there to actually teach you all the things you need to know about being an awesome physio or an awesome osteopath. That is what you pay for. Yeah. If you decide that you want to go into business or you want to do this for yourself, then you actually need to grow up and learn how to do that. Yeah. Yep. And seek the expertise. That's right. To be able... And regardless of how much free stuff there is online... Yeah. It's never going to be enough, because the whole point of free is to help you make buying decisions. Absolutely. It's just good marketing, isn't it? Oh, look, I'm not even going to start my rant now, but, you know, anyone who's worked with me for 5 minutes or heard me talk has heard my thoughts on the models and the marketing that's out there, and the bells and whistles, and you really can't beat actual expertise with an actual person. No, and that's why, like, people go, how can you charge so much? I don't think I charge so much. But how can you charge that? And I said, because I'm going to actually help you make $100,000 in the next 12 months. Yeah. Simple. And they're like, well, how? I said, we've just been through that. Yeah. But I can't afford you. You can't afford not to do this. Yeah. You've just told me you can't live on $50,000, which you haven't yet made. Yeah. You've told me you don't know how to market. You told me you don't know how to sell. You've told me that you're terrified of networking. You told me you haven't got a website. Yeah. I'm telling you I can help you with all of that. Yeah. Okay, off you go. Yeah. Fine. The other piece I wanted to speak into there, so there's the money thing and the are you listening? We are awful to each other. Yeah. I see this everywhere, and I see it prolifically in the mental health community at the moment. Wow. The criticism that our peers have for ourselves is awful, and we need to stop it. We need to stop being so harsh and judgmental and critical, and we need to start going, you know what, Jo, you were brave. Yeah. No, you know what, Colleen, that's an amazing thing. Thank you so much for putting that out there. Yeah. Lauren, wow, look at you go. That's amazing. Instead of, Jo, you've got a spelling error. I got taken to task. I'm the queen of the typo. I put a meme up this week. Yeah. There were typos in it. Yeah. I didn't see them. I'm sorry. I really didn't need all those people telling me how much of a lack of credibility that spoke about.
Yeah, wow. I just think
Just like, really?
our outrage meters really need to be recalibrated, because I think we just focus on the wrong things, don't we? And so it's really interesting seeing that within the health community.
Yeah, we should know. We actually know better than that, people. So
there
we go. Sorry.
No. Deep breath.
Yes.
Yeah. Really interesting. So what's your advice to women who have experienced an illness or injury or, another life impacting condition?
Yeah.
Is it possible to still have a life and career that you love?
Well, I'm going to make a mockery of me if I say no. Well, yeah. So I think we've got this incredible... people's journeys and people's stories are so powerful these days. And we as health professionals need to get over the fact that we need to be talking about lived experience. Yeah. Okay. And so everyone goes to a TED Talk, or there's movies made about all these people who overcome. Yeah. Any illness or injury or disability or distraction or horrible thing that happens could end up being a defining moment in a really positive way. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, there will be bruises. Yes, there'll probably be scars and people will be impacted. But we don't have to let that define us. So you are not depression. You are not chronic fatigue. You are a person who gets to live with depression. Yeah. I said that quite deliberately about the gentlemen that are quadriplegics. I did not say I'm working with a gentleman who's a quadriplegic. I said I'm working with a gentleman who gets to live in a power chair. Yeah. And I'm so sick and tired of people defining themselves by their injury and illness experience, because all that does is reinforce what you can't do. Absolutely. And it continues to, strengthen that reinforcement every single day, doesn't it? And then it means you're looking for a cure. Yeah. Now, we've got people who are living post-cancer. 5 years ago, they weren't supposed to survive. They're actually outliving medical science, as in medical science can't keep up with them. We don't know what they're dealing with. No. Because there haven't been enough of them living for us to do the medical research. Yeah. So that's going to be happening more and more and more. So we've got to get better at going, hey, I've got this fatigue condition, or I've had a post-concussion syndrome, or I've got a whiplash. It doesn't mean it's the end. No. I have a real bugbear as well with the use of the term overcoming, because I think it's just good point. It's just a nonsense word, and it really is about living with whatever, and there is not a person over the age of 30 who doesn't have some form of chronic pain, unless you've been living in a bubble. There's not a single person out there who hasn't had an injury that's going to play up from time to time. There's not a person who hasn't experienced loss or grief or mental distress, whether or not there's mental illness. We've all had distressing periods. And I do a lot of work and a lot of talking about the importance of redefining who you are as an adult. And for me personally, I can totally relate to what you're saying too, that despite those difficult moments being really, sucky at the time, they can really be a catalyst for amazing things. When I first went into private practice, it was around a period where I had become incredibly sick and wasn't coping at work. Wow. So with an autoimmune disease, and I'm going to have that forever. If it was 50 years ago, I wouldn't be alive. So I'm pretty happy with things. But it was the catalyst for me to actually reassess a lot of things and look at who I am. As a definition, and really redefine who I was. And it was really,
that point that's got me to where I am now. And I think for all of us, there is that moment, isn't there?
I would think that there is.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's more than one.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And when I'm not here to say if you haven't got one, that if you go back, you've probably minimised it.
Yeah.
But I think as women, we're so good at just getting up and doing the next thing.
Yeah.
We're very good at going full on or full stop.
Yes.
So there's
not a lot of grey area, is there?
No. So and I know I've worked with a lot of people now where they did the full stop and they're terrified of having to do the full on again.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, you don't have to do it that way again. And they just like, what do you mean?
That's it.
We get to learn how to do this differently.
Yeah.
What do you mean? We get to choose how we do this now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's it.
I don't think I can go back and be, a senior executive. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right. What else?
Okay.
There's a lot of other options out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And executive coaching isn't the right one for everyone, just letting you know.
Yeah.
We're going to have an influx of executive coaches.
So what's been the biggest self-limiting factor that you can think of that gets in the way of people living the lives and having the career that they want?
You brought it up before, knowing your worth.
Yeah.
It's not, knowing your worth isn't just about money.
No. Money,
Knowing your worth means
Yeah.
I don't have to see 30 clients in a week because if I see 15, I am the best I can be.
Yeah.
Knowing your worth is being able to go to your boss, thank you very much for this referral, but I really shouldn't be working with kids. I'm not a good fit for kids.
Yeah.
Knowing your worth is being able to say to your son, no, I won't be taking you to soccer today. You know how to catch the bus.
Yeah.
We've done this before. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you can't do it.
Yeah. It's all these factors, isn't it? And I think the other big thing that comes into knowing your worth is knowing where you fit in the world and understanding who you are and developing that insight as well. What's actually important to you?
Yeah. And it's you matter.
Yes.
If you weren't here, and this is what I say to health professionals all the time, you're not just needed, you're actually friggin' necessary.
Yeah.
People actually need your expertise to learn to walk again.
Yeah.
People need your expertise to get their diabetes under control so they don't lose limbs.
Yeah.
And when you start putting it, that's what our clients need us to do.
Yeah.
And we diminish it because it becomes so commonplace and common sense that we don't even celebrate the fact that, Mr. Smith no longer needs to wear a compression stocking.
Yeah.
It's
amazing. I'm flashing back to so many different scenarios over the years where something really significant is seen as an insignificant, just
so what?
something that happened today at work.
Yeah.
And you're right. So all of that, you're knowing your worth and having a good grasp of that is just vital.
It really is. And it's not like here in Australia, we do not live with the threat of our homes being taken away tomorrow. Yeah. We live in a very privileged, and we should be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because if we can stimulate this economy, then we can actually do more to help the people who are fleeing war-torn countries.
Yes.
But we don't have to worry about food and shelter and clothing. So let's embrace that and not feel bad about it, but create a lifestyle that goes, I'm really concerned about child refugees or child soldiers or girls being sold into sexual slavery. If you've got enough income, you can actually do something significant about that.
Yeah.
So come on, people.
That's it.
Come on, we've got work to do.
Definitely. And I think just the act of gratitude is really, really important there as well. And sometimes it does sound a bit wanky, but
good point.
If you're able just to say, you know what, today was a crappy day, but I have a roof over my head. I've got something to eat for dinner. Yeah. I've got access to Facebook and I can share information.
Yes.
It's a lot to be grateful for and keep that perspective and sense of worth and importance.
And one of the things I've learned when I get into a funk, because I do, I will actively go and encourage someone.
Yes.
Because who knows what's at the end of that text message, Facebook post, Instagram, wherever I choose to go.
Yeah.
It's just like, I feel ordinary.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go and bless somebody.
Yeah.
Because maybe that will help me.
Yeah.
And it usually does.
Yeah.
And then usually the person is like, oh, wow, I can't believe you did that today.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's really funny, isn't it, that doing something nice for somebody else feels nice for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to just genuine compliments.
Yeah.
With a random stranger.
Yeah.
And it's just so easy, and it can really change somebody's day, and it'll change you. It gets you out of your funk.
Yeah, it does get you out of your funk.
It's hard to be in a funk when you're doing something nice. So what's your definition? What's your personal definition of having it all? And
oh, wow.
Or is there such a thing?
Yeah, well, I think there is, but my personal definition of having it all, for me, at this point in my life, it's having energy to spare.
Great, yeah.
Okay, so like I said, I'm good at working hard.
Yeah.
I know how to earn income. I haven't got all the income things I want. I haven't got my wealth creation sorted for the rest of my life.
Yep.
But if I don't have the energy to do any of that, then that's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
So for me, it's having energy to spare. So that means I've got to get really clear about what I will do and what I won't do.
Yeah.
I've got to make sure that the relationships in my world are nurtured and cared for.
Yeah.
It means investing time in myself.
Yeah.
And so yoga's become a really important thing for me, purely because I was such a competitive sports person.
Yeah.
And that's not helping me anymore, because I'm constantly competing and competing and competing.
Yeah.
It's actually fueling something really unhealthy.
Yeah. So again, having a look at what's serving you, what's not.
Yeah, that was not a fun day, because you can't. If you lose the yoga that I practice, if I take my mind off it, I fall over. Yeah.
So you really do have to be present and quite mindful about it.
Otherwise, I end up with the sore face. I can make downward dog look very ungracious. Downward dog splat. So I think having it all, like, people kind of think they want the car and they want the house and they want the kids that are gorgeous and the husband that's fat and they want the gorgeous little body.
Yeah.
I think for having it all means I've got the energy and I know what I want, what to do to get me to those things.
Yeah.
That would be my definition.
Yeah.
And I don't believe we can have it all today.
Yes. Yeah. I always think the concept of having it all is such a big thing, isn't it? You know, what does it even mean? Yeah. What is all?
That's why my face went.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me just redefine what all is and then I'll work out how to answer your question.
Yeah. And I guess in so many of the conversations that I have with women around having it all, you know, we've kind of fallen into this trap of literally thinking we need all of it. So we need to be breaking glass ceilings. We need to be sporty after work. We need to have the perfect tidy house that we still have to control doing all the tidying. You know, we have to look a particular way. And you know, I'm exhausted just thinking about that now.
I think we can have a nap.
Yeah. So it is. It's this concept of having it all. And I really like what you said there about having the energy, you know, to be able to do the stuff that you want on any given day. Yeah. And that changes.
It does. It does change.
Yeah.
And there'll be some days when I'll work a 10-hour day, but, you know, there'll be days when I'll do 3.
Yeah.
Or none.
Yeah. Even better.
That's okay. But it's okay now because I've put the hard yards in and I've built something that supports that.
Yeah.
And it's a conscious decision. It's not, I'm so sick, I can't work.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, what women do.
Yes.
Is they legitimise being sick to take a rest.
Yeah.
We need to stop that.
We do, and we need to be conscious of when we're actually doing that too, don't we? And
that's hard. We need to help each other with that. That's not something I think we can do on our own.
No, and I think culturally, it's just so intrinsic within workplaces that, you know, that the good worker is always there. And the good worker doesn't take lunch breaks, or the good worker is always on the phone, always at their computer. And that's, you know, it's a messed up way and an outdated way of judging whether something's efficient or not. So So we both know how scary it can be, and you've kind of touched on this before, but what's your advice for women who are currently working in health or allied health and they're considering going out on their own? And I mean, we've both already laughed at the unglamour.
So health, one of the things we need to understand as health professionals, we are generally risk adverse. Because we're always managing risk of our patients or our clients. So own it. Yeah. If you need to find information out to help you make that decision, should I stay or should I go, then work out what questions you want answered and then work out how to get the answers to those questions. Yeah. It might mean spending some money with someone to help you clarify that. Yeah. It doesn't mean it'll be $100,000. Yeah. Not everyone is cut out for being self-employed, and you need to own that. I've had people come to me and go, I really want to set out on my own, and I've gone, oh, please don't. Or they've enrolled in my program and we've started working together, and second session in, I'm like, this is not for you. I can't in all good conscience take your money. Please don't do this. Let me help you in a different way. So you've got to become really aware of yourself. I run a Success Mindset Masterclass, which is really helping people understand how their personality affects their behaviour and then how their behaviour turns into risk. So if you don't like uncertainty, then the way you start a private practice needs to be different than if you love it.
Absolutely.
Okay? So for me, my certainty comes from as long as I am in control, things will work. But not everybody has that level of self-belief, and that's okay. Also means I'm a bit of a control freak, and that's not always helpful.
Oh, look, I feel like we should have a bit of a confessional here.
So if you're willing to do the work on who you are, getting to know yourself, then you can make a good decision about how to make private practice work for you. So not every private practitioner should be a manager of people.
Oh, thank you. And there is not a week that goes by where I am not talking with women about developing this insight. And understanding who you are as a person is just so fundamental to success at anything, isn't it? And I think we're in this really interesting kind of era at the moment where there's a really, really heavy push for entrepreneurial ship, and there's an awful lot of pressure almost to, self-employment's just the next logical step for me. I need to do that. It's not something that I necessarily would have come to, but there's this pressure there, and I feel like, well, I need to try that to be a success. And it's simply not the case, is it?
No, because we can't, not everyone can, nor should we try.
No.
And self-employment and entrepreneurship are not the same thing.
No. No, they're not.
You can buy yourself a job. You can become a subcontractor, which is not the same as being an entrepreneur. So I think, the pressure around that, again, is people just not taking the time to think about it. And we just so push, shove, hustle. It's not helpful. And I can tell you, I've done the hustle. I don't like it. No. And I'm not saying you do need to learn how to sell and market and build a website and do social. That's not hustling.
No. And whether you're self-employed, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're employed by someone else, you need to do those things anyway. And that's all part of marketing yourself.
That's right. We've got CEOs these days who will not get new CEO roles unless they have a blog, unless they are active on social. And it's not under the company's name. No. It's what do you stand for? How do we know that you're going to be a good fit for this company if we don't know what you stand for? So if that's happening at a CEO level of the really big companies that we all emulate, then it's got to be the same for us.
It really does. So finally, your purple hair. I love it. And I love the name Purple Co. So, favourite colour, or is there a story behind?
There's actually a story. Purple isn't my favourite colour, although, yeah. So Purple Co is the truncation of purpose for people.
Yeah.
So I, back in the day, I needed to come up with a business name. This is how it started. Because I was never supposed to be a success at this. This was only ever going to be the thing I did until I worked out what I was going to do.
Wow, okay. That's really interesting. I hear that quite a lot from people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I had left a management come clinical come most horrible job ever.
Yeah.
And I took myself out of the paid workforce for about 3 months and tried to learn to trade the US stock market and gifted them my life savings.
Oh, wow. How generous of you.
Thank you. I've had to reframe that, as you can tell. So I ran out of money. I was a single mum.
Yeah.
I went, what's in my hand? What can I do? So I went back to rehab consulting, but on my terms.
Yeah.
Within 6 weeks, I had more work than I knew what to do with.
Wow.
And I had to bring on my first associate.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, she'd just gone through this horrible employment experience. She rang me the day she was fired.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know what to do. And I said, oh, I do. She's been with me ever since.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to my mum, and I went, because my mum was doing my books for me, Mum, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to make more money than the GST thingy cut off fee.
Yeah.
She said, well, you probably need to speak to an accountant and become a company. And I said, oh, bugger, I've got to find a company name. So we tossed around a few things, and she said, Purple Co, you're all about purpose for people. Let's just mush the words together. And then it just became so much fun.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, because I did not want a business name that said injury, treatment, disability. I wanted something that was, you're a person first.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to go and find purple clothing. I just put purple in my hair. And it's a great marketing tactic for me, because people might not remember my name, but they remember the chick with purple hair.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that there is that sense of fun, because you're working with people, and people, life should be fun.
And the work as rehab counsellors, we work with people when they're incredibly vulnerable. Yeah. When they're very hurt. Yeah. When the earth has not just the carpet, but the earth has moved underneath them. And we help them rebuild their lives. Yeah. So if we are always being intense, clients aren't going to shift. They're not going to move. They're not going to be empowered. They're not going to transform. No. They're just going to stay stuck in this really heavy space. Yeah. And I think, something as simple as a business name, if we can make a change there, why not? Yeah. I also didn't want to compete with all the other rehab people around that I didn't think were doing a very good job. Yeah. And I said that quietly and very fast.
Very diplomatic. Yeah, look, I mean, we could talk for hours about that.
Yeah, no, we won't. Not publicly.
No, look, that's fantastic. Look, thank you so much, Jo. I've had such a great time with you, and can't wait to share your knowledge. Thank you. Really, this is exciting stuff.
It is, and I really appreciate you again taking the time. I do have a gift for you. But I'll give that to you once you've taken the recording off. I know.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
That's all right. Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks, Jo.